Alright, here we are. You have one ore geode, a very cute little pool, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. What's up everyone, it's me, it's Red New, and in this video we're going to go over the best early to mid game base locations. So if you're like me, as soon as you're able to build your second base, which is when you upgrade your power box to level 10, you're probably thinking of a few things. One, how do I get more ore to make ingots? 2, should I make a farm? And or 3, should I relocate my main base? These are definitely things I thought about, and so I went on a huge journey looking for good base locations to build farms or call my home. And in this video, I'm going to go ahead and save you a lot of time by sharing these locations with you. Let's go ahead and start off with looking at my base first. My base here, the coordinates is -285 to 11. And this is my base. I actually do have a nice little natural resource here, kind of, in the Ravine Grotto. I do have a little dungeon that sometimes spawns. Sometimes it's gone. Sometimes you don't see it here at all. But I could probably farm sulfur here. So what else do I have? What I have here is plenty of flatland. Now, I am looking to move. And specifically, it's because I don't have as much flatland as I would like. So let's talk a little bit about what makes a good base. Flatland is really nice to make a good base, especially in this part and in this stage of Palworld in its early access. Palworld is still a little buggy, so pals tend to get stuck. And if you have a lot more flatland, then the pals are easier to spot when they get stuck. And also, it's a lot less likely for them to get stuck. So flatland is very, very valuable, and I definitely am thinking about moving simply because I don't have enough flatland. You can see that I have some hills that my base has within its boundaries. Very often do some of my pals get stuck like here or maybe down this hill, and they get stuck trying to transport things, and it's hard for me to even see that they're stuck. So I definitely like flatland. Flatland is very, very important. The other thing you want is access to natural resources. Now you can see over here, I don't have any natural resources except the dungeon that I mentioned, and this happens only sometimes. It doesn't always spawn. Besides that, there are, stone, there's wood, but if you're in the early to mid game phase, ingots and ore to make the ingots becomes incredibly important. And as well, when you're going to late game, you're going to want a lot of sulfur to make gunpowder and bullets. So what I have here is I don't have resources in my main base, so I don't have pals farming this resource. I'll show you my farm later. But what I do have is access to a lot of resources still. I have access to all the ore that I want over here. And what's really cool about the ore nodes here is that I can use my rush ore, specifically rush ore. Rush ore is good for farming these nodes and just charge straight into them. Hold shift and click. You can see over there on the left, I got 19 ore. Very good. Very nice to have an access to like a burst of resources. Like I do have a ore farm, but if I ever need like a burst of ore, then I can just come up to this hill and find it where I need it. The other reason why I also picked this base is because this base is next to a gigantic cliff. And this cliff is pretty steep. It's really cool. It looks like a really nice slide, and we'll show you that in a bit. But this is a really cool just vantage point. I am able to see so much of the map, and I'm able to see natural resources. I'm able to see where the syndicate bases are, and I'm able to go to any one of them by just simply jumping off and gliding. But not only is it a very good vantage point, this also just makes a very good send-off point. If I want to go anywhere over to the southwest area or even southeast, I can simply run down this hill, slide, get that boost of speed, then glide my way there. And that's just a lot of horizontal distance that I'm covering with this. I'm going to be able to reach this spot over here pretty easily. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a lot of flat land where I would like it. That's as close to that hill as, my base currently is. So I am thinking about moving, But yeah, that's my base. Next, I'll show you my ore farm. Then we'll go over the other base locations that I'm currently looking to move into. Okay, so this is my ore farm. So if you can see over here, we have some naturally occurring ore geodes. There should be around 8 or 9 in total. There's like one here and maybe one here that's missing. Idea behind farms in general is for the base, the PAL box, to have the ore nodes there. You also don't want a stone pit, because if I had a stone pit, then sometimes these guys would be whacking away at a stone pit and not the ore I want them to farm. So this is a nice farm location. This also has a really nice vantage point, some slides you can go down. This one here as well. It just has a lot of ore. That's the main reason why I picked this site. Not only though does this have a lot of ore, so let me just go ahead and help them out there. You can see over here I had 293. This is all just automatic. I have my pals doing it, and the Kativas are just dropping it in this box over here. They're all well fed, they all have beds, right? Now, the other reason why this base is actually pretty nice, and one that I wanted to put in this boundary, it is the sulfur node right here. And sulfur is incredibly important because it's useful for making gunpowder. The only reason why I am looking to relocate this farm is because, unfortunately, this base also has this large body of water. And you might think, hey, this looks really nice. But a lot of the times, the pals get stuck on the bottom of the lake. And then they get hungry, they starve, they lose sanity, they don't work. And you just have to go over here in the box to, like, reset them, right? You would just go boop, 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 and then reset them and get them out of the lake. So not only does this base have naturally occurring ore geodes and that one sulfur node there, but actually it has this nice little slide here, right? And look at that. I have 6 coal geodes here in case I need to farm coal. I actually don't know what I need to farm coal for right now as of yet, but I'm sure it's pretty important. And if I wanted to farm coal, I would just ride on my rush ore and just reckless charge. Well, I wasn't expecting that, but there you go. And the coordinates for this base is 310, -34. So the next base I want to show is just south of mine, right over here. This is going to be off the Masanda Forest fast travel point. The coordinates for this is 233, -119. And the coordinates for the base is 289, -104. And I'm going to go ahead and travel over to there. I'll give you the rundown of it really quick. So this is a pretty good base location because you have 1 ore, 1 sulfur, and you also have another ore and another sulfur. Not only that, you have this wide space of flat land. This is a perfect base for very little bugs for your pals. As well, you have some very valuable naturally occurring geodes. 2 sulfur, 2 ore. I think this is a pretty good base. I'm thinking about making this my new main base just because of how wide and expansive it is. The next base I want to show you is actually just northwest of mine slightly, and it's going to come off the sealed realm of the Swift teleport. And this is a location, the fast travel point is 286.17. I'm probably going to die. So after clearing this location of bee guards, you have this location here. The coordinates are 282.88, just north of the sealed realm of the Swift, just north of my other ore farm, just south of Sand Dune's entrance. This is a pretty good area. It's a very wide, flat land as well. There are some trees that maybe you can farm. It also has a naturally occurring sulfur geode and a dungeon over here. Luckily, it spawned. So this is a level 29 dungeon. You can farm some more sulfur there. No ore, unfortunately, but sulfur in a dungeon, that's pretty good, especially if you're getting to that mid to late part of the game where you need a lot of gunpowder. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and show you 2 bases here. This could be a pretty fun one for maybe you and your friend if you have separate bases but you want to be neighbors. You can go over here for a sealed realm of the Winged Tyrant. The coordinate for this fast travel point is -264, -157, and the 2 bases are just east of it. So let me go ahead and head straight over there. All right, so this is a pretty good early to mid-game location. So you wouldn't even need to make a stone pit, because not only do you have all these stone geodes, you also have this coal over here. On top of this, you have a naturally occurring sulfur geode here. I do think you would be able to at least pick one of them to be within your boundary. I don't think you can pick both, but this is a nice base. Really cool bamboo shoots for trees. The coordinates for this one is -189, -133. It's just south of the desert, and there is a bit of a hot spot here. So if you build your base more over to this side and you're trying to incubate a certain egg that likes being in the heat, you can actually get free heat from over here because you're just right by the desert, and for whatever reason this part of the base is the desert. So right over here though, once you get on to the plains, you are safe. You are no longer too hot. So I would probably build it somewhere around here or maybe here. The other base is just north of it, and it's -196, -101. So again, this base has a very similar deal. You have a bunch of stone resources, you have a naturally occurring sulfur geode here, and the only thing that's different is you don't have coal. You do have this sick-ass slide though. So the next base I have is good, especially if you're starting off in the Forgotten Island respawn point. Again, there are 8 respawn points and Forgotten Island is one of them. It's actually where I started this playthrough, and you can get to this place very easily from the Forgotten Island church ruins. And actually, there's just a lot of good base points here, mostly because it's relatively flat land, this entire island. As well, there's a lot of berries. So if you like berries a lot for whatever reason, this is definitely a good place to set up your base, especially in the early game. Berries are pretty nice to have in the early game, because then you could avoid having berry plantations. After you've built the base, of course, and you've upgraded past it, you no longer have to keep your berry plantation. But right over here is actually a really good spot to have your base. This coordinates is -452, -45, and this is a really nice base because it's flat land. You can easily clear the trees, or you can just have your pals cut them up as loggers do. And as well, look, there are so many red berries everywhere. So the berries are very nice early, but not only that, you also have these 2 naturally occurring ore geodes. So this is a great base for early game. You can get to it really quick off the Forgotten Island respawn point, and you pretty much have everything you need. You don't need a berry plantation, you have stone, you have wood, you also have 2 ore. This is actually an ideal base for your early game, I would say. The other base I want to show is just south of it. So we're gonna go over here. There is a lot of good resource here, and there's also a very wide expanse of flatland. So you have stone, you have wood, you also have 2 ore geodes. This place is actually a really good, ideal spot for beginners. And not only that, you have these nice looking palm trees as well out to the southwest. I definitely like this base, especially starting out. I wish I used this base or the one with the berries, because what I did instead was build off the beach, and that was a nightmare because it was just on totally uneven land. And also, there were no naturally occurring resources. So this is a really nice base for beginners, especially if you're going off the Forgotten Island respawn point, as well as the base to the northeast of it. Alright, so if you know me, you know that I always like to save the best for last. The teleport spot is the Sealed Realm of the Thunder Dragon. The coordinates for that is -215, -349. And the base that I want to show is right over here, this star, -259, -371. Let's go ahead and get over there. Just wait till you see this. This one looks really good. Alright, here we are. So this is the base. You have a lot of trees surrounding it, but not only do you have the trees that surround it, you have 1 ore geode, a very cute little pool, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You have 9 ore geodes right here in this spot, and you could very likely build a base to cover both of them, like this one and this cluster of 8. I'm not too sure, but I think you should be able to. They look pretty close. Flat land and a cute little pool. You could put your mills here. That looks really nice. And I mean, there's not much I could say. This is where my new base is going to be, if not my next ore farm. I think what's going to happen is that I'm going to dismantle my ore farm and set up camp over here, and this will legit just be a second base of operations, because the ore farm doesn't really have a lot of flatland, so there's not really a lot of good space to build other facilities. But now I have ore and I have space for facilities, so I definitely like this spot a lot. Again, this is right over here, just a little southwest of the sealed realm of the Thunder Dragon. I think this is an ideal spot for mid-game Palworld. You have a bunch of ore. You don't have sulfur, so no gunpowder, but that should be fine. Find a different base. That shouldn't be a problem. Farm dungeons, and you should be good to go. Alright, so those are all the base locations. Well, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Palworld content. Let me know in the comments of any cool base locations you have, especially if they have more than 2 sulfur geodes, because I'm having a lot of trouble finding them. Thank you for watching. My name is Renu, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace. Okay, one big tip if you're building a base, don't use wood, because sometimes you may have an aggressive fire pal burn your entire building. I didn't put a lot of time into, you know, making this. It's just really a bed and a few work tables, but yeah, don't listen. Don't do what I did. Yep. Yeah, don't make your house out of wood. Not with these guys around.